we're making sure that we're reaching out because, the social aspect that businesses have to society a lot of the time goes unmeasured. People measure things against GDP, but GDP doesn't measure the contribution that lots of these businesses have.
Social science research shows that when SMEs develop their leadership capability, not only are they able to sustain their business, but they're also to take up new opportunities.
We're seeing very much an emerging trend where localness and local supply is seen as important and a benefit. Collaboration is happening between businesses, and there's a real community spirit, and that's great. And I'm wondering if we did research into what benefits is that actually bringing, and that combined with the modern side of digitalization technology is a combination that could be a fantastic bonus that could come from this, that actually is a way forward to work.
So what we're seeing with a lot of businesses now is that there was a huge trend of just sort of having a website that looks good, or just being on social and just being there, whereas it's a lot more technical now. People are a lot more savvy, and people are there to be sold to, essentially. So it's about sort of putting the right focus into the right place of where your demographic is. So for example, for ourselves, Twitter might not be a great platform for us to push content out on, because our audience and demographic and our target audience are not sat there. So it's about, of course, being active on these platforms, but then essentially ensuring that you're communicating in the right place where your target audience are sitting. Now, another thing is, it's okay having a website that just exists, and some people might think, oh, my website does the job, but how does that look on mobile? Are your demographic, I don't know, more likely to visit your site and you come in contact with your business via mobile also? These tools need to be fit to convert, and they need to communicate the products and services that you offer as effectively as possible. And that's as a small business what you're competing against with bigger businesses that have already figured this out and have already got the resource to invest in it.
Should we be fearful? We've learned to work in unusual ways, in unusual places, and digital has played such an important part in both being connected and connecting during COVID-19. Can it continue?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the most important thing that, we talk to our entrepreneurs about, and business owners, is the mindset. So, if you approach everything with your growth mindset, then, any challenge can be tackled. You may find, your route to the summit of your challenge may be different from your competitors. But as long as you, dust yourself down and get back up and carry on going, it can make a difference.
The younger generation, we've got such an advantage because we was learning without even realizing. So when MySpace was kicking, or when Facebook first begun, even Instagram, we was creating content, and we understood how that had an impact, how that created awareness, or just how we could use basically the audience that we would create and we build just out of having friends and communicating and liking people's photos and engaging with people, to then push through sales to businesses and drive traffic there. So that's obviously a natural advantage, because when you step into business, it's very similar. You want to create a piece of content in which gets a reaction and sort of builds awareness.
If we look at what's happened in the last 3 to 6 months to businesses, what's quite clear is, as people are having to stay closer to home, these community-based organisations are becoming vital to their local communities, but also they're actually contributing a really important part to the economy as well.
What I wanted to say was, I really do believe that small and medium-sized businesses really have the opportunity not just to recover, but to thrive in this changing world. And I really believe it's their time. But I think it's important to say that size is not a guarantee. It's what leaders and owners do. and about being agile and implementing change. But those who've kept communicating and engaging with their customers through lockdown and been flexible as to what they're doing as they've opened up again, have seen loyalty and confidence really keep those customers coming back. And I've seen bigger companies who've actually been very empathic with their customers, but also look to improve their own processes and innovate at the same time.
I think there are organisations in cities across the country that have the skills, the resource, and the reach to really tell the stories of these small businesses that do things without the praise. They do it because they know it's the right thing to do. We always talk about doing things for the right reason. They do it because they believe in it, and they don't necessarily want to talk about it because it's just what they do. But I think if we want their business to potentially level up in a way, if we can get more people understanding about what they're doing and buying into their story, I think that can make a really big difference.
It's the key question, and there's never been more important time where people probably want to just focus on their cash flow and so on, but they've got to look up. And I think actually it's where the technology of Zoom meetings and webinars really comes into its own, because it's about collaborating and finding events where these ideas are shared. No one has the answers, but I've seen fantastic webinars. This is a really good example. There's ones by Local Enterprise Partnership, by the Federation of Small Businesses, where it has some of the science involved, those people who can help, and it just has different people with businesses sharing what's worked for them or what they're struggling with, and someone in the group can help and have the answer. And if people just spend an hour of their time and they get one good idea, that really could be the step forward.
Another thing is, look who's around you. A lot of my mentors, because I try not to sort of just rely on one mentor. I feel there's lots to learn and everyone's got different experiences. A lot of them was friends or family, and you don't realise sort of how much value that they can bring to you by sort of, for example, I was so bombarded with a situation where I was bringing a shareholder on board about A-class shares or B-class shares, or how we basically went about doing that transaction. Whereas I sat down with a family friend who's run a business for the past 15 years, and he simply sort of spoke me through that. And yes, Google's there, yes, YouTube's there, you can sort of go and do your own research, but there's nothing like sitting in front of someone who you can give your version of experience and current position as a business, that they can give you their best recommendations and advice based on their experience and knowledge.
So I think, some simple steps that people can sort of can take. So I think I would say work as a community. So if you've got the connections, work with people or join, whether it be local or online. Use this as an opportunity to look at your value proposition. So, look at your business model canvas. So what does your business look like today? What could it potentially look like? Really get to know who your customers are, and as always, know your numbers.